All right, so the first major replacement program was called the Objective Individual Combat Weapon, the OICW. It's the gun that tried to do everything. Instead of just building a better rifle, they said, what if we build a weapon that makes cover irrelevant? So picture this, a rifle with a 20mm grenade launcher mounted on top. The grenade launcher has a computer. The computer calculates range. You aim at an enemy hiding behind a wall. The computer tells the grenade to explode exactly 3 feet past the wall, and boom, the enemy is neutralized, even though you never had line of sight. But to make this work, they built a weapon weighing 18 pounds. Compare that to a loaded M4 at 7.5 pounds, and you're asking soldiers to haul more than double the weight. And soldiers aren't just carrying their rifle. They've got ammunition, body armor, water, radios, medical supplies. Every single pound counts. The second issue? That 20mm grenade wasn't lethal enough. Testing showed the airburst munition could wound targets, but frequently failed to kill them. So here's this heavy, expensive, complicated weapon that doesn't even solve the core lethality problem, right? That's a massive issue. Third problem, the rifle itself. To reduce weight, they went with a 10-inch barrel. But firing .556 from a 10-inch barrel tanks your muzzle velocity so badly, you might as well be throwing rocks. I mean, beyond 200 meters, the rifle portion was worthless. Completely worthless. In 2004, the Army pulled the plug. Hundreds of millions spent. 0 rifles produced. Program number 2, the XM8. After the OICW crashed and burned, the military looked at the rifle component and thought, actually, this part's pretty solid. What if we developed this as its own standalone rifle? Heckler & Koch designed it, the same German manufacturer behind some of the world's finest firearms. It ran a short-stroke gas piston instead of direct gas impingement, meaning way fewer jams. It was modular, too. Swap barrels quickly, and you could configure it as a compact carbine, standard rifle, designated marksman rifle, or even a light machine gun. Plus, it had an integrated optic with red dot and IR laser. This was the future. In testing, the XM8 crushed it. During a 60,000-round dust test, the XM8 only had 127 stoppages. The M4, 882 stoppages. 7 times more failures. The XM8 was objectively superior in reliability, okay? So why'd it fail? Politics. Pure politics. The Army skipping the open competition and just handed the contract to Heckler & Koch based on their previous OICW work. Other manufacturers lost their minds. Colt, FN, Remington, they all said, hold on, we could build something better if you actually gave us a shot, right? They hammered Congress with lobbying. So Congress killed the funding in 2004. The Army attempted to rescue the program by launching a competition in 2005, then canceled it after just 5 months. Why? Because the Army was waking up to reality. They were fighting 2 wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. They couldn't afford years-long rifle development programs. They needed solutions immediately. The XM8 died, not from being inferior, but from politics and bad timing. Today, the only military using the XM8 is Malaysia's Special Forces. That's it. One of the best rifles ever designed, murdered by bureaucracy. You can't make this up. Let me ask you something, though. What's the lesson here about military procurement? Technical superiority means nothing if you can't manage your stakeholders, right? Lesson learned. Program number 3, the FN SCAR. While the Army fumbled the XM8, U.S. Special Operations Command ran their own program. They wanted a modular M4 replacement exclusively for Special Forces, and in 2004, they chose the FN SCAR. The SCAR took a different approach. 2 versions, the SCAR Light in 5.56 and the SCAR Heavy in 7.62. Both featured a short-stroke gas piston for reliability. Both came with quick-change barrels, folding stocks, full-length Picatinny rails, and ambidextrous controls. This was modularity executed correctly. During testing, the SCAR Light outperformed even the XM8, In that same 60,000-round dust test, the SCAR Light only had 226 stoppages versus the M4's 882. Reliable, accurate, Special Forces absolutely loved it. I mean, they loved this rifle. But here's the twist. In 2010, SOCOM canceled the SCAR Light. Wait, what? They canceled the superior rifle? Official reason? Budget constraints. Real reason? The SCAR Heavy in 7.62 performed so well, they didn't need the 5.56 variant. Think about it. Special Forces choose their loadout. They're not regular infantry stuck with whatever gets issued. So their logic was simple. We'll run the SCAR Heavy when we need range and power. We'll use the M4 when we need light and compact. This is a pivotal moment in our story. What SOCOM discovered was you don't need one rifle doing everything. You need the correct rifle for each specific mission. The SCAR Heavy provided them with a modern battle rifle. But notice the pattern. Special Forces solved their problem by acknowledging the M4's limitations and adding something superior. The Army? They still wanted one rifle to do it all. Which brings us to the next program. Program number 4, the Individual Carbine Competition. By 2011, the Army decided to give it another shot. This time, they'd get it right. Open competition. Best rifle wins, right? Gun manufacturers were on board. They called it the Individual Carbine Competition. The lineup was stacked. Colt brought an enhanced M4 with gas piston and improved barrel. FN entered the SCAR 16S, plus an upgraded variant called the FNAC. Heckler & Koch submitted the HK 416A5, which would later become the Marine Corps M27. Remington showed up with the ACR, Adaptive Combat Rifle, featuring multi-caliber capability. Beretta offered the ARX 160 with quick-change barrels, and several others competed too. Each rifle represented cutting-edge small arms engineering. Take the Remington ACR. It could switch between 5.56, 6.8mm SPC, 6.5mm Grendel, or 7.62 by 39mm, just by swapping barrels, bolts, and magazines. One rifle platform accommodating any caliber based on mission requirements. That's revolutionary. I mean, that's the dream, right? The HK 416 had already proven itself with SEAL Team 6. It's the rifle that took down Osama bin Laden. The gas piston system was so dependable it could fire tens of thousands of rounds with minimal maintenance. After extensive testing, gathering data on accuracy, reliability, dually, and soldier feedback, which rifle won? None of them. In 2013, the Army canceled the whole competition. Their justification? None of the rifles offered sufficient improvement over the M4A1 to warrant the expense. Let that sink in. They tested rifles with half the M4's failure rate. Rifles more accurate. Rifles soldiers actually preferred. And the Army's response was, not good enough. What actually happened? The Army spent the previous decade upgrading the M4 fleet. Better barrels, better magazines, better rails. They'd fixed enough M4 problems that the performance gap between it and competitors narrowed. Not because the M4 dramatically improved, but because the Army kept raising the threshold for what counted as sufficient improvement. See the pattern forming? Every replacement program fails. Then the Army makes incremental M4 upgrades. Then they launch a new replacement program with even higher standards. It's like running on a treadmill that keeps accelerating, right? You're never gonna win. By 2013, the industry was burned out. They'd invested millions developing these rifles, and the Army just said, never mind, nothing changed. These rifles are now sold in the civilian market. But during this period, something else was developing that would shift everything. Program number 5, the HK M27 IAR. While the Army kept canceling programs, the Marine Corps quietly executed something radical. In 2010, they adopted the M27 Infantry Automatic Rifle to replace the M24-9 SAW in infantry squads. The M27 is essentially an HK 416 with a heavier barrel. Fires 5.56, weighs roughly 8 pounds, and the Marines used it to replace a belt-fed light machine gun firing the same round. On paper, this seems nonsensical. You're swapping a 200-round belt-fed machine gun for a 30-round magazine-fed rifle. How's that an improvement? Here's how. The M27's accuracy so dramatically exceeds the M249 that Marines achieve suppression with significantly fewer rounds. The M249 might spray 50 rounds downrange, hitting nothing. The M27 fires 10 rounds and connects with the target area every single time. Plus, the M27 is lighter, far more maneuverable in buildings, and substantially more reliable. The Marines were so impressed, they decided in 2017 to issue it to every infantryman. Not just automatic riflemen, everyone. They replaced the M4 across their entire infantry battalions. Complete replacement. Why? The M27's gas piston system jams far less frequently than the M4. Its free-floated barrel delivers 2 minutes of angle accuracy versus the M4's 4. It stays cleaner during sustained fire. It's objectively a superior rifle, okay? It's just better. The Marine Corps became the first U.S. service to broadly adopt an M4 replacement in 5.56. And you know what? It worked. Problem solved. Marines in both training and combat reported higher hit rates, fewer stoppages, and stronger confidence in their weapon. But here's the catch. The M27 costs roughly $3,000 per rifle, compared to the M4's $1,000. For the relatively small Marine Corps, that's manageable. For the Army, with 10 times as many soldiers, that's $6 billion just for the rifles, excluding magazines, spare parts, training, and logistics. I mean, that's a lot of money. The Army's assessment was, if we're spending that kind of money, we need more than just a better 5.56 rifle. We need a genuine capability leap. Which brings us to the final program, the one that actually succeeded. Program number 6, the NGSW, the Next Generation Squad Weapon. In 2017, the Army launched the Next Generation Squad Weapon program with an entirely different philosophy. They weren't searching for a better M4. They were aiming to fundamentally overmatch any adversary for the next 50 years, right? Big thinking. The requirements were extreme. Defeat body armor at 600 plus meters. Double the M4's effective range. Reduce weapon weight compared to current systems. Integrate an advanced fire control optic with range finding and ballistic computing. Employ a new 6.8 mm caliber, delivering significantly more energy than 5.56 or 7.62 NATO. These requirements appear contradictory, right? How do you boost power while cutting weight? How do you develop a new caliber with superior ballistics, but have it production ready within a few years? I mean, on paper, it's impossible. 3 companies competed: SIG Sauer, General Dynamics, and Textron. Each pursued completely different approaches. Textron developed a telescoped case ammunition system, where the bullet sits inside the powder charge instead of on top of it. This dramatically cuts cartridge length and weight. General Dynamics partnered with True Velocity to engineer composite polymer ammunition cases, replacing brass. Polymer cases are lighter and dissipate heat more effectively. Their rifle featured conventional layout with modular design. SIG Sauer took the boldest route. They engineered a hybrid case with steel base and brass body. This enabled them to load cartridges to 80,000 psi chamber pressure. The outcome? A 6.8 mm round hitting harder than 7.2 mm NATO, but in a shorter, lighter package. Their rifle, the MCX Spear, was essentially a scaled-up AR-15 pattern rifle with short-stroke piston. Okay? After rigorous testing, the Army selected SIG in April 2022. The rifle was designated XM7, now XM5 in some documentation. with the machine gun variant designated XM250. Let me explain why this won. It wasn't just the rifle, it was the complete system, right? The XM7 weighs 8.4 pounds empty. Yes, heavier than an M4, but it fires rounds so powerful they defeat level 4 body armor at 600 meters. The M4 can't reliably penetrate even level 3 armor at that distance. The XM7 includes an integrated suppressor reducing signature, paired with the XM157 fire control optic, essentially a smart scope with laser rangefinder, ballistic computer, environmental sensors, and digital display. This system calculates the precise aim point for any range, wind condition, or target movement. It transforms every rifleman into a sharpshooter. I mean, think about that. Every rifleman becomes a marksman. The XM250 machine gun weighs just 13 pounds with suppressor, 4 pounds lighter than the M249 it's replacing, despite firing a substantially more powerful round. It uses a belt-fed system, but lacks a quick-change barrel because the barrel's engineered to handle sustained fire without overheating. The trade-off? The 6.8mm ammunition weighs more than 5.56. A basic load of 7 20-round magazines weighs 9.8 pounds versus 7.4 pounds for 7 30-round magazines. Soldiers carry fewer rounds, but each round is dramatically more lethal. Does that make sense? The Army's betting precision and power trump volume of fire. They're betting that with XM157 optics, soldiers hit on the first shot instead of spraying and praying. This is the contrarian approach. For decades, military doctrine emphasized spraying more bullets downrange. Now they're saying, hit with the first bullet, right? Total reversal. Will it work? We're about to discover. Initial fielding started late 2023 to infantry units. By 2030, the Army plans to equip all close combat forces with the NGSW system. Let's zoom out. Over 20 years, 8 major programs, billions spent. Only one succeeded. Why? Because every failed program attempted incremental improvements to an existing paradigm. The XM8 was a better M4. The SCAR was a better M4. The individual carbine competitors were better M4s. They all operated within identical assumptions. 5.56, similar weight, similar cost. But the NGSW is a fundamentally different system, different ammunition, different fighting doctrine. If you like this type of content, be sure to like and subscribe and leave your comment below on guns you would like to see in the future.